Okay, hey everybody. I was actually working on a video about drums in Suno this morning, trying to find ways to create any drum style, any drum format that I want. And I've been having all kinds of problems. So I thought I would jump on a live stream. I'll have to finish the other video a little bit later if they sort out some of the issues. But I've noticed a few things. One, maybe the biggest one so far is that the stem extraction in Suno, both in Studio and in the main version, and I would love for any of you who are watching to tell me if it's not working on your system or if it's just a me thing. I can't tell. That's one of the things about live streams that I love is that we can crowdsource some stuff. But I'm just trying to extract some stems and I get all these error messages over there. And if I go to the main page where I've made just Suno songs and I try to do a stem export, that's not working either. I get an error message. And so for some reason, right this moment, the stem extraction functionality of Suno is not working. What we're going to be doing maybe over the course of the next like 20 minutes is just testing some stuff out. But the other thing that I've noticed that is broken right now is the ability in Suno Studio to when I'm creating parts to actually do, it kind of is doing what I'm asking, but it's having a really hard time at the same time. And maybe it's because I'm pushing some of the advanced functionality too far. I'm not sure yet. That's what I'm trying to sort out. So this all started because I was in Logic Pro earlier, and I just made this really simple 3-track thing with the Apple Intelligence, the session instruments. Nothing even fancy, really not fancy at all, hokey, in fact. And I thought, you know what, let me just take this into Suno, minus the drums. So just this, the keyboard part and the bass part. Right, something so basic. And that's what I brought in. That's this right here at the top. And then I started trying to create parts to go with it. One of them was this drum. And I actually had written down in the prompt. Let me see if I can recreate this right now because I think that that's perhaps useful. Okay, so Ragged says, just checked, stems are broken here too. And then Ivan says, one question, besides the errors for whatever reason in Studio, when I add a track and I try to do an instrumental like piano or guitar, just one instrument gives me not only one instrument. That's the thing I'm talking about right now, actually. And it wasn't doing this last week. I actually took a whole 2 days off from Suno, which I had spent a lot of time on Suno before the weekend. The videos I did last week, and everybody who's doing Suno videos right now, they're getting thousands and thousands of views. One of the live streams I did last week is at nearly 8,000 views, which for a live stream on Suno on my channel is that's like hitting the lottery in some ways. And it was working fine. And then today I come in and I'm trying to create drums, right? And we'll test this out. So one thing I found is only the sound that's on actually works when you do the creation. That's good because it means I can mute certain things and not have it influence the process. So I have this other jazz drum part that I'd already had. And I was like, you know what? I just want to remake that. I'm going to come down into my creation settings. I'm going to do drums. I'm going to do high audio influence and a low style influence and a very low weirdness influence. And I'll just put jazz drums because I want it to be influence on the jazz drums I already have. I want it to make a new track of jazz drums. Um, Let me just select the region area and then I hit create. And so all morning, every time I do this, David says he's getting extracted stems. So I wonder, but there's more than one of us. So that what my theory is right now is that popularity of this product, the SUNO Studio, from last week into today has been high, extremely high. I wonder if they're just running into this issue that sometimes happens when they get more people than they were expecting and they weren't ready for them. That's my suspicion. My suspicion is that people sometimes are getting stems and other times there's too many people asking for stems. It's not like there's endless resources on the other side to do this endlessly. They have to do it in a certain amount. And so perhaps we're just running into that. But let me see if this one is still, I mean, I've been having the problem all morning. I would love for them to prove me wrong and say, you know what? Nope, we're not having issues with that. But I clearly selected drums from the selector, and I said jazz drums, and then I even said audio influence, high percentage. And so let's see what they just gave us with this. I mean, it starts with bass and piano. It's not even starting with drums, FYI. So I thought, maybe they're just having a glitch with this. That's when I selected this and said extract stems, because theoretically, I'm really glad that I had started the stream when I did and showed that it was having a problem, because right this moment, it just let me do a stem extraction. So maybe they're working on this and trying to get it back up and running. But two of us had issues. David said he wasn't. And all of a sudden now mine is also perhaps working. But that's what we're going to be facing. I'm not saying this in a negative way about Sunno. I'm not saying don't use Sunno because of this. I'm saying they created something revolutionary that a lot of people want to use, and there are going to be some bumps along the way. So this is beta version 1.0. It looks like it is doing stem extraction, although I shouldn't have had to do stem extraction on a prompt that was just drums. I mean, their own filter system, just drums. And so now I'm going to be able to come in. Let's see if we can get the drums, if they're going to actually do the drum extraction here. So in the last 8 minutes, the stem extraction has worked for the first time all day. You're getting fresh reporting right this moment. And then Colton says, "What's up? I just got here. I'm super interested in this new software. How do you feel about it?" I love this. It's not for everybody and it's not for every situation, but there are some things about it that I think paradigm-wise will change how we do a lot of things. And then David says, "I've had the issue of trying to create a single instrument and it has worked. And sometimes it did what is happening to you, multiple instruments, a little buggy still, I think." I'm beginning to think, and this is this is part of it. We're going to wait and see if these stems actually extract, because they have now been here spinning. Let's see if I can do an insert all, if it'll pull them over. Okay, but whoa. This song didn't have that many stems to extract. So even now, even though it said it's doing it, it's clearly having some issues. We're going to assume that the Sunno team is behind the scenes trying to figure out how to make it so people can do their stem extractions again. Fine. That's fine. What I want to do, let me shrink all these down while it does that. In fact, okay, that's the real number. So we got bass, keyboard, woodwinds, and drums. Let's do this thing where I probably could select multiples. Can I though? Yeah, okay. Let's do a new track. Did I just lose them all? Oh man, I hate this thing sometimes. So I want, okay, bass, those three. Come on. That one, that one. We'll just do this one at a time. Because it did have the drums in there. I just deleted them. So they don't even start till the middle though. No, I don't hear anything. Okay, cool. So here's the theory that I'm working on right now, which is if, and let me turn on this original track from Logic one more time, and I'll play it. Everything else is turned off. Let's make a new track for a second. Make a selection here. And let's just do drums. I'm going to do rock drums and hit create. I feel like this, so my theory is if you have like a drum style and you have it created, but there's the elements of that style aren't audible, it's trying to give you those style elements as well. So for instance, if I was doing this with like some really like heavy metal drums, but this is not a heavy metal original track. And so it kept on adding guitars because I think it's like, dude, you're way off with this. You asked for a metal drums, but you have nothing metal about this song. We need to add some other elements that match. So that's what, let me see what this one is coming up real quick. So the thing we're starting with is this thing from Logic. That's, I mean, again, I just made something with the session instruments, the default. There's a video I want to make that compares what the session players in Logic and Sunno can do, like which one is more powerful. I'm not going to give away the answer to this, even though you might think you know. But see, it's giving me guitar though. I have some suspicions. Because that wasn't what I was getting earlier. I did get earlier some drums. Let's see if I can see which ones they were. I think there was this one. Oh, that one has some bass in it. This one has just drums. But I wonder if part of the Sunno process, when we do inside studio, if we make a selection and ask it for something, if it is creating an entire song based off the harmony and tempo that incorporates that, and then it is just doing a stem extraction underneath the hood to give us the parts that we asked for. That's what it feels like. And that's the reasoning behind this is that the stem extraction has been broken today. No question it was broken at some point. I think it may be still a little bit. Let's see if we can extract this one I just made. Okay, it's going to try. So we're going to let that just sit for a minute. It's going way slower than normal. And once this does the extraction, then we'll just take the drums from it, right? But originally, I think it just does the stem extraction under the hood and gives us the part that we're asking for. And the follow tempo button. I mean, it already is following the tempo. So, anyway. Let's see, let me catch up with the comments. Sla Costa said Suno Studio currently cannot detect the tempo of an existing audio file that you are uploading. I don't know. I mean, it just did fine for that one. So this is the file I uploaded. This is the one that it just created. Are you having issues, Slacosta, with it not recognizing the uploaded tempo? That'd be interesting to know. Let me see if we've got. So we have all of these now that came from that one track. Let's just pull the drums. So let's undo that solo, just do this solo. Sound pretty gnarly. I've definitely had better drum sounds from Suno. Let's get the MIDI real quick and just test that out. The MIDI get MIDI thing is taking a little longer today than it was right when this opened up last week as well. But I have noticed some improvements over the MIDI. It seems like it's getting more right, and that's what should happen in a system like this when people are doing get MIDI, get MIDI, get MIDI. The more that it does it in the more situations, the more that their system should theoretically learn from it and get better at it, right? And so that could be something that's happening. Let's go into Logic real quick, and I'll drag these out. I don't care about that. Seems to be so. It did say it has a bass, but there's no bass in there. I don't like how it keeps on breaking things into pieces. Let me double check. There's definitely some stuff that's in the wrong place. But we have velocity, kind of. This velocity section is like all blue and purple, which means it's low velocity. But I am finding it's not doing well. Meaning we're not getting like, it's going to take some editing to really get that to be a drum part. Did I do that in the wrong one? I did. No. Let's get rid of that. And geez, get somebody who knows MIDI to program your export file formats, please. That wouldn't be such a hard thing. If you're gonna say MIDI is one of the best new features, then give us just put the right program change and things on there. Missing like a whole chunk here. Is it anywhere? No. I don't think that's missing though in here. So it's just inconsistent right now. It's going to get better. I feel like the more that the people are using this, the better the MIDI export's going to be. So let's do one more quick test here where we just do a small section of this. That is one thing I was also, I've had better luck with getting the right things when it's just a small chunk instead of the entire song. But let's do, we'll do a custom penny whistle Celtic. Just a little solo at the beginning. I just want to see if I get what I'm asking for. So that'll take a second. So already since the stream started, the stem extract seems to have been started working again, although it's not perfect. We'll see if this happens to work. Yeah, so it has happened every single time since I've started the stream that when I ask for a single thing, it gives me a full arrangement. And given that the extraction was broken, I'm guessing that that's part of the process. It's kind of interesting to see underneath the hood just a little bit. I'm guessing, of course, but it looks like they're using an extract process to get you what you're asking for in the studio when you're asking for just a single thing. And until that gets fixed, we may just be a little bit rough in the waters a little bit. Let's see if this can extract the whistle for me. Man, it's not a very long thing, but you can see it's like giving me every choice when it shows that it was doing something similar before, but I don't think it was doing everything. My guess is that somebody is frantically working on the back end right now to sort this out. Yeah, so guitar, and then what they're calling effects. Okay, so let's just try these two. Okay, not problem solved, but certainly we can get back to using things as we ask for them. Let's do, well, we'll leave that one up. Let's do a new track. These are just things that I had tried last week and that I'm curious about again to see what their current state is. Everything should be changing. That's the best part about having a platform like this is that they can add and enhance features and do improvement things because it's web-based, browser-based, rather than something you download and you're stuck with until they can roll out a whole update. Let's just do a brass section because this was something I did last week that worked really. I thought, well. And I did a string section that worked really well, and they didn't add anything to those. It was true, exactly what I asked for. So let's see if these ones are also adding things right now, and then we'll know. And then probably by this afternoon, you'll see that it's working. And tomorrow morning, they'll get an extra 10,000 users on this at once, and then it'll stop working again. And then they'll finally fine-tune the balance of how many people can be on at once and what they're doing, or they'll change their little error messages to say, like something like ChatGPT does when it's like the servers are busy. They probably would rather just have an error sign than say that, because if you're using Studio, you're paying, a decent amount. You shouldn't actually be put in the back of the queue. So let's see how the brass is working. It's getting there. Oh yeah, it already added guitars. And like a percussion clap. By the way, one of my favorite things when we're working in Studio like this is going to be, when it's working properly, the advanced options down here, which allow us to shift how much influence the audio that's there is exerting, how much the style influence that you're typing. Maybe I need to switch these around too. I don't know if they were actually doing. It's like, that's the thing about learning with this. Ugh. Let's do brass again. Maybe it's this little button is broken. It's just doing a song every time. It's like, how do we figure this out? How do we just experiment and they fine tune it and make it better? Let's see, anything else? Funky section, funky. We'll just do funky brass. I'm just trying to keep these until I get a better sense. I know I see a ton of people saying, here's what you need to do for styles. You need to put a bunch of stuff in there. And I'm trying to keep it as simple as I can at first and then expand it as we go. We'll try this brass section like this and see if it gives me the whole band again. Because if that's the case, then maybe the audio influence and style influence things were actually influencing it, even though I had the advanced options closed. I don't know. It could be either way. Man, some bumps, but that's okay. I mean, SUNO Studio is pretty cool. As far as I'm concerned, this feels like growing pains of more people using it than the technology being busted. Because I have plenty of examples last week of this thing working really impressively. Let's see if this one did the brass. No, there's the guitar still. So that part is still, I think that's just busted, because I'm filtering out by what I want, by what this program is giving me. And so I'm guessing some point in like 2 or 3 hours, it'll all of a sudden just be working again. Let's extract all the stems. I'm just glad the stem extraction started working again. Because that was like, you're dead in the water if it's making all of these complex tracks with all the stuff, and then you can't even get an extraction on it. Then how can you even use it? I've done Art and Diddy. I've done not isolated jazz drums, but I did jazz drums only. I think I tried the stem one as well. I've tried almost everything right now, but this wasn't happening like on Thursday or Friday of last week, to be clear. This wasn't happening like this. When I did drums using their filter and then even typed in what I wanted, it just gave me drums. So this is something that's new. And it's not, I don't think it's going to stick. I think that we're just going to have to deal with it until they fix it. Let me hear the brass here. at least right this moment, I've got this workaround. Although I asked for brass for the whole song, and it's like it gave me 6 seconds of it, feels like. I mean, what this really means to me is that when they released version 5 engine, one of the biggest things that they did was likely up their extraction game. Because that's an extraction from the full version, and those horns sound really well extracted. But so we're getting like maybe a little look into their overall engine of how they're doing this. They're like, let's make we have an engine that can make the full tracks, and it gets better every time we tweak it and add stuff in. How do we make the studio work? Well, we have the full tracks. Let's do the best stem extractor anyone's ever heard. Okay. Logically, that holds up as one potential for what's happening behind the scenes. But then the stem extractor breaks or the functionality breaks. They get it back online, but they still have to re-roll this out into this whole creation in the studio engine. Like I said, I bet you if we were to stream all day long, by the end of the stream, you would notice that it's back and working again. But those horns. They're not bad. Let's download this wave real quick and put this into the Logic project for a second. Because I do think that there's some interesting things. And you can do more versions. Like, every time I do this, I like make one brass section. But the beauty of this is you can say, let's do this, let's recreate it, let's give it different parameters, let's change the thing. The only thing at that point you're using are the credits that you pay for every month. And that's fine. Cool. There's the download file, dialog. But there's something about we're still going to need like workstations that can do stuff. If they can up their workstation game and give us equalization, compression, reverb, other effects, make it VST audio unit compatible. It's on the web. That's almost impossible to do the third-party plugin thing. But they could do a downloadable version that is, and then add all that functionality. But I mean, it's like there's stuff that we could do here. But with this, I think what we need is a really good, like isotope, reverb remove. In Logic, we don't have a good one that's built in, but we do have the enveloper, which has a room killer preset on it. So then I could get like the making it a little bit funky sounding. That's okay for what I'm doing right now. Then we can add like our own actual reverb on this. And it's like the reverb gets baked into all of that stuff, which isn't great. That's so hokey. So one of the videos I'm working on though is going to be comparing the session players from Logic, which apart from us having to do all the work with Logic, which chords we want, what sections we want, we have to choose all the styles and the kit pieces and all that stuff. If Logic were to add like 3 things, like a really AI based chord track that you could say, I want in this style, give me the chords that match, and they can like develop the chords. We would need like a really good guitar session player and another one that does like all these other things like strings and brass and whatever. Um, then we'd be in a better place in Logic than with Suno, because we get to go into the actual instruments like the drums and say, you know what, I want I want this kick drum and change it, and this snare drum and change it, and this thing. It gives us a lot more control over the final sound, where we don't get that with Suno. We get to retry a different prompt every time, and then maybe eventually we'll land where we want. What Suno does right now, it gets us from the beginning to the end a lot better, smoother, easier for sure, and in many cases sounding really good. And with the Logic stuff, we don't get to go from beginning to end easy. It's beginning to end with a lot of work to make it sound good. But they can accomplish a lot of the same things. But with Logic session players, you have to be highly involved, and you actually have to be a really skilled musician in many ways. And so, good or bad, great. What I would love is to have the MIDI export be better with Suno, so that I could load in my song and say, hey, Suno, give me like a drum pattern that matches this song beginning to end. And, partway through, I really want to do, I want to have it do something like a fill section or a drum solo, or, and then we come back and we make it work. In Suno right now, I was doing that with some of these drums. This is one of them right here. Here's the problem right now. I can select sections of the drums and say, hey, give me a different thing here. But it's going back to the well. It's like going back and you get different drum sounds. It's not the same drum kit each time. That one does a little bit. It's like different hi-hat sounds overall, a little bit different reverb sometimes. And what I was really hoping to do is be able to select all of these, do like a new version based off of what I've done, and have it just pop out a consistent one across the whole thing. But right now it's not doing it. But you can export the MIDI and then use that MIDI to control Logic, but you have to clean up the MIDI quite a bit. Scylla Costa, yes, this one, you can come watch it later if you want. If the brass instruments I'm using sound like it has different parts, will the MIDI output have the pitch of each part? So yes, kind of. Is it perfect? No. Let me hear what this one sounded like up here for a second. There's some chords in there, right? Some polyphony. Let's get the MIDI of the brass section, and I'll show you what it looks like in its current state. And then we're going to, after that, this wasn't intended to be a long stream, just one of those ones that's like, yo, if you're using this stuff, you got to be really careful. So here's what it looks like. And one of the problems is that everything is like, there's no velocity changes in here. but it gets all the notes. Let's see if we can't. It makes it a piano, but whatever. Let's do our studio instruments horns. Is this going to sound good? No, it's not. There's no way that this is going to sound good because it just is straight export of MIDI at all one velocity. It's actually like 1,000% better than I thought it was going to be. I mean, I can work with that, right? We can go find the wrong notes that are in here. There's some like ones that shouldn't be next to each other. Although maybe that's just like a inverted 7 or something. I'm not going to look at it that close. But we can come through and change out some of these velocities. We could humanize it if we wanted to, do it automatically. We could actually just write them in if we wanted to. We could use a breath controller. I've got a breath controller that I could add in velocity data with that, so that it's changing over time. It would be all of them. So you might want to split this out into like 5 different horn parts and then do each velocity track separately. Ooh, I mean, that's better than I thought it was going to be. They're getting better. Every day I'm noticing improvements. And so that's what a beta is all about, right? I mean, it's a beta 1.0. We're not getting any new numbers, but we're getting new things along the way. So that's cool. We can even do quantization, groove quantization. I feel a lot of hope with what I just showed you. That right there alone, it's just going to get better. It's going to get better every day, every minute from here on out. And so what I'm pumped about is that how many people were interested in the software starting last week when they announced it. I mean, it was taking over the web like a little bit for a few minutes, and that's a good thing in so many ways. One, people are interested in music. Two, Sunno is gonna get like this huge infusion of interest and potentially subscribers, and so they're gonna continue to be able to make this technology better. And not everyone's talking about this in a negative way. I mean, this is going to be a tool that we can use. This, I remember when I was in college a few years ago, a long time ago, people talked about the drum machine like it was the worst thing that ever happened, right? Because all of a sudden, real drummers were going to lose their work. And then we had these keyboards that could make sounds like acoustic instruments, the DX7, and then after that sampling and Giga Studio and all these things. It's funny, it never ever, none of them killed the music industry ever. That'd be like saying that when the car was invented that it killed the travel industry because horses and buggies were no longer needed, right? No, it just made the travel industry better. We could go further. I don't know if that's always the right thing to do, but I feel like the good music is still going to float to the top, hopefully. Or maybe even better yet, we're going to find a way to really make the local music a tighter group among those who want it, So we can figure out how to, like, who we're going to go watch play this weekend, and maybe they'll have some AI components or something, but it's not like this stuff is going to replace the most important thing, which is all going out and seeing somebody, sing live. I mean, Apple and Spotify have already killed music as a format that makes money for artists. Next time you're at someone's show and they're selling CDs or vinyl, go buy one. That's like actual food or rent or something for those musicians. Whereas if you listen to their album the rest of your life, you won't even barely pay that back. But I like disruption. I think disruption is good. And this is already a headache for Spotify. And anything that's a headache for Spotify, I think we should all do. Because I don't care about Spotify as little as they care about all of us. Um, Apple's on paper a little bit better, but there are some things that they're not better about too. So, whew. Okay, I gotta go. Thanks everybody for watching. Hopefully they get some of this stuff sorted out. I'll be making more videos, less live streams about Sunno, more uploaded videos once this issue gets sorted out, because I do actually want to talk about using drums from here in places like Logic or other places, because Logic Pro's drummer has like this many genres and this many patterns, and Sunno increases that out exponentially. And so if we can use it to help us, for those of us who don't play guitar or drums, then I think that it can be a really amazing tool. Anyway, talk to you later. See ya. Bye.